Hey everyone, I just got done watching Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse earlier on tonight with my friend, which was a good time because I enjoyed the movie and we got free stuff. My theater was handing out these Spider-Man earbuds, which I'm assuming are just cheap Sony earbuds, but I guess it's always a fun time getting free stuff from the theater, but I was just not expecting that. Anyways, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a animated Spider-Man film from Sony Pictures that mainly focuses on Miles Morales becoming the new Spider-Man as he teams up with other Spider-Men or Spider-Woman or Spider-like characters from different dimensions, and they team up to stop the plans of the evil Kingpin. And I don't really want to talk about uh, Kingpin's plans too much because that would be spoiling a lot of the story, and I'd rather you guys go out and watch the film and see how the story unfolds. But I will say that the Kingpin is not evil just to be evil. There is some motive behind the stuff that he's doing. So there is a reason there why he wants to mess around with this machine and all this quantum mechanics or quantum physics stuff that can open up different dimensions. But anyways, the other characters that Miles Morales get to meet and team up with are Spider-Gwen, or Gwen Stacy, which was awesome to see on the big screen for the first time, even if it's only in an animated form. Spider-Noir, who was voiced by Nicolas Cage. And if you have watched a lot of Nicolas Cage movies in your lifetime, you will be able to detect his voice quite easily. But I thought he did a great job doing the voice work for Spider-Noir. Spider Ham or Spider Porker, I was kind of concerned about because I wasn't quite sure he would fit into this universe. I mean, I get it, I understand. He's from a different dimension and he has his own comic books and stuff like that, so he's a real thing. It's just that I was really concerned about him. But honestly, the movie didn't really focus on Spider Ham a lot at all. I mean, he did get a decent amount of screen time. He did do some like silly cartoony stuff in only like two or three scenes, but the movie would quickly move on from that and continue on with the action or suspense that was going on with the other characters. So I really appreciate that they did that and that they did not, linger too long on Spider-Ham. And they did not spend a lot of time on Penny Parker either, which was like this Japanese animated schoolgirl with a giant Spider-Man mech. I mean, the only ones that got pretty much the most screen time are Miles Morales, first of all, because this is his story. Spider-Gwen and Peter Parker, there were like two different Peter Parkers in this film that I don't want to explain why, because once again, that would be going into spoiler territory, but you'll get to see how that plays out when you see the movie for yourself. But yeah, this movie, I had a blast watching it. The score was great. I would put it up there with like my top three favorite Spider-Man scores of all time, even though they played some other music in the film from some like current day music from like the current generation that I didn't really recognize. And they played some music from previous generation that I did recognize, and I was sitting there going, "Oh, cool. I can't believe they're playing this in a animated movie that kids might go and see." I don't think they're going to know who these rappers are, but anyways, whatever. Yeah, the score was great. The movie had a lot of heart, so it can make it, somewhat relatable to most audience members out there. And I thought it had a very unique animation style, unlike any other animation style that I have ever seen before. I mean, to be fair, I don't really go out to see animated movies that much on the big screen, but for this, I had a good feeling about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I really dig it a lot. And there's a lot of Easter eggs in this movie for long-time comic book fans and for new comic book readers as well. Also, there is a brief cameo from the one and only Stan Lee, which a single tear came out of my eye and went down my cheek because I was like, "Oh, it's Stan Lee! I love that guy." I don't know if it was actually him doing the voice work for himself pretty much, but it was a pretty humorous scene as always in these Marvel films, or I should say a Sony film in association with Marvel pretty much. But yeah, if you are a hardcore Spider-Man fan, I said fam. If you are a hardcore Spider-Man fan, I think you'll have a fun time watching this film. If you have kids, I definitely would recommend taking your kids to go see this film. They might have a fun time watching it if they are into comic books, that is. I mean, there are some. Well, I'll say this: there is some dark tones in this movie, but there are more humorous tones than there are dark tones. It's nothing that would traumatize children, but it's just that they don't shy away from some dark moments in this film, and yeah, I really appreciate that they make that noticeable for the audience, I guess. But yeah, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, fun movie, fun animated Spider-Man movie, I should say, and probably up there with my top four Spider-Man films, top four favorite Spider-Man films of all time. Number one would have to be the original Spider-Man film with Tobey Maguire, directed by Sam Raimi. I also enjoyed Spider-Man 2, that was also directed by Sam Raimi. Did not enjoy the reboots with Andrew Garfield, did not enjoy those at all. I did enjoy the recent reboot with Tom Holland, so that would be number 3 on my list, and this would be, of course, number 4 as my fourth favorite Spider-Man film from Sony, that is. All right, and also the recent video game from Insomniac. I mean, I know that's not a movie, but there are some cutscenes in that video game that's it's really up there with some movie quality stuff. So if you have not played that Spider-Man game, I would highly recommend that you play it. But yeah, check out Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think you will have a great time watching this film if you are a Spider-Man fan, and if you like animated movies, depending, I don't know, what taste of animated movies that you're into. I know some people don't really like don't really like American animation that much and prefer Japanese animation. I'm a fan of both. I like Japanese anime and I like American cartoons. So, this I really didn't mind too much, and it was just pretty much a good time. So, all right. So that's my thoughts or my quick review. Also, did I go into other characters that are in this film that you get to see? Not sure if I talked about that, but other characters that are in this film are the Prowler, who works for Kingpin, and there is some spoilery stuff with his character, so I'm not going to go into too much about him. But I will say that he is very fierce and very persistent, and he is a very formidable foe for Miles Morales and some other Spider-Man characters. And he kind of reminds me a lot like Black Panther, because he does this whole thing with his claws, and I just keep thinking Black Panther in my head, even though he's the Prowler. So he was really cool. I liked his design, his unique, animation style that they brought to the film. Also, Mary Jane and Aunt May, or at least one of the many different versions of Aunt May, because I know that they're working or focusing on different dimensions in this film. But anyways, yeah, those are just some of the other characters. Also, Doc Ock, but not the old school Doc Ock, or not the Doc Ock that you're thinking of. It's the Doc Ock from the Miles Morales universe, pretty much. If you are familiar with the comics or familiar with anything about the comic universe, you'll know what I mean when you see her. Alright, so anyways, that's my thoughts. I like the movie. Check it out. If you want me to give this movie a score, man, I'm gonna say between an 8 and a 9, maybe maybe an 8.5, maybe a 9. Really struggling here, folks. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go with stars on this one. I'm gonna go with stars. All right. if you want me to give it a rating on a star level, or a star rating on a whatever level, I give it 4.5. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. There we go. That's my rating. 4.5 out of 5 stars for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I will see you guys next time. Next movie I'm going to see this month is Aquaman, and then I'm going to go into hibernation because next year, Avengers Endgame, baby. Oh yeah. Adios. Stay awesome.